Good day, everybody. It is Friday the 28th, a little bit after 11 o'clock in the morning. It's been kind of a rough go this morning, especially for Jerry Ann. I really feel sorry for her. She's dealing with a lot of aches and pains that, well, they're new and they're different. It seems like her aches and pains are constantly changing, and all the tests are not showing anything other than age and wear and tear. They're not showing anything of like emergency dramatics or anything like that that's going to cause um any extra medical procedures or anything like that, other than just taking painkillers and anti-inflammatories. I, we think, me and Jerry think, and the doctors don't really know what to say. That it's hurt. It depends on what she eats. Um, she was describing how one day she had just like keto friendly cookies and stuff like that, and the next morning she was fine and dandy, and then another day she had like keto friendly ice cream, like peanut butter fudge or something like that, and the next morning is when was having problems. So we don't know if it's dietary or if it's muscular or if it's just wear and tear on her body. We don't. Nobody can tell us exactly what what we're doing wrong or what needs to be done or anything like that. So it's like okay, so we just have to excuse me, plug away at the problem and see if we can finally figure out what the problem is. She's got to call the doctors back today to see if they want her to come in or what. But it's been a real tough ordeal. Of course, I woke up this morning and I was like having a knee problem. My right knee has been achy, and of course, I went out this morning and I woke up. It is currently like not even 60 degrees yet. It's like 58 degrees. Chances of storms and whatnot, and the high is only supposed to be around 64. And it's like, oh, great, okay. Yeah. So anybody who is affected by Mother Nature and all her whims and whatever's, um, you might understand our pain, and I really think it has to do with the weather. Um, it's one of the many reasons why I contemplate: do I want to move to Lower Colorado or Upper Arizona because it's a little bit warmer, but there's no real safe zone or place, no real good place to be that you won't be affected by the weather in one way or another. It's just, there's no escaping it. Might not be as severe as what we have right now, but still, we may or may not feel the changes in the weather. So yeah. But anyhow, I spent a little time last night before I went to sleep reading the American Crozy book, and I'm now in the section about calmness, keeping calm, and how calmness affects us both physically and psychologically. And you know me, I'm not usually a big like psychological type person. But the section is easy does it, why calm matters. And like right off the bat, I found something that just kind of went, okay, I understand now. Um, One of the most difficult parts of living a cozy life has nothing to do with getting rid of possessions, moving your furniture around, or managing your schedule. It it is being calm. And I'm like, Okay. I understand. I do understand that, but at the same time, my brain is going. But isn't calm also affected by your surroundings? Well, um, I'm not sure. I'm still reading. Um, but anyhow, she also goes to write, um, pursuing physical and emotional comfort without hesitation. Oh, okay. In chapter one, we talk about the importance of choosing coziness and pursuing physical and emotional comfort without hesitation. In today's go-get-em world, the word comfort is seen by some as a symptom of lazy, low energy, fearful of change, or idle. Someone who is more concerned with feeling good than being productive in the world. I can understand how some people see it that way. But as she goes to say here, in the world I grew up in, however, comfort meant none of these things. Exactly. You can be comfortable and still be very productive and very go active and a bit, well, as some people would say, a busybody. Um, so yeah, I don't consider comfort being lazy or low energy or anything like that. I see there are some people who would take coziness as being, yeah, okay, I don't like change, so I'm gonna fear it and not, I can't get in the right position, and that kind of thing. So it's kind of like one of those. I can see how some people would consider being lazy or fearful of change and things like that, but no, I mean, I was growing up as a kid in the military, and I was comfortable with moving someplace new every 3 years. I thought it was exciting because it was like, ooh, a new place, new adventures, new people to befriend, new things to do. I didn't consider it being just afraid of change, because I think I thrive on the idea of change. I don't know, but I was comfortable with my life as a kid. Very few kids aren't comfortable with their lives unless something really traumatic happens and it turns their world upside down. Um, then she starts talking about the importance of being calm and how it calmness takes away our negative feelings. She talks about the what is it seeing the positivity and taking joy from getting joy and positivity from the calmness and the what endorphins and what's the word she uses? She uses two particular words, and one of them I remember as endorphins that help energize the body. Um, and then she goes to say, uh, she talks about the mindset you will want to tackle is calmness. A lot of us don't have, well, a lot of us can easily be triggered into a state of panic or whatnot because of something that happens. You have a timetable that you're trying to keep. You get panicky because you're getting close to the end of that timetable and you're not done with your project or your task, or yeah, you have a scheduled time to be at work and you woke up late, or you took longer than normal to get ready for work. Feed yourself, feed the kids, get the kids to school, get yourself dressed, get yourself ready for work, and you have a timetable of when to be at work, so you don't get yourself in trouble, because maybe you have a boss who's a real hard ass, and every time you're 5 minutes late, they harp at you for it. Whatever. It's trying to keep and maintain a calm sense about you when there's issues that arise, whether it's a strict timetable or an accident happened and you know your brain, you're fighting that fight or flight mechanism in everybody's brain of like, oh no, I want to, an accident happened and I don't want to get in trouble. Do I man up and be responsible for it, or do I run away and try to act like I was nowhere in the area? That kind of thing. Just different things that causes our brains to, start not being calm. Excuse me. Here, mm, I've got the burps this morning. Here is the meaning of calm that I grew up with, and she's talking about how she grew up. Um, the absence of nervousness, agitation, anger, negativity, or distractions. Without being and feeling calm, you will have difficulty constantly, consistently creating calm, no matter how much decluttering, smart scheduling, or feng shuiing you do. It's true. Um, I've tried to create, I've tried to declutter my areas. I've tried to create schedules. I've tried to live a certain lifestyle. And if I get triggered, I don't have that calm no more. So it didn't matter. Um, it's one of the good things about this book is she's literally trying to give us tools to find and maintain a sense of calmness, as well as living cozy. I mean, I have not read that much, but I've already gotten enough of a sense of she's really, really trying to give you all the tools to be a happy person, not just your environment, not just the foods you eat, not just a gathering of family, but your mindset, your whole mind, spirit, body type ordeal. Um, and I strongly believe that all three of them are connected in one way or another. That's why I try to read all the books I can to help me understand a particular area of life, and this book is one of them. But anyhow, the science of calm. Scientific research underscores the importance of staying calm to your health and your overall life. Here are just a few examples. Now, I'm not going to read you the whole thing. I'm just going to read you the title and a brief of it. Stress shrinks the brain. That was like number one on this list. Stress shrinks the brain. And she goes to talk about how research has found that stressful events causes us to lose gray matter. It literally causes our brains to shrink, which is kind of like, if the brain shrinks, does that mean the head concaves in on itself? Or does it just get filled with like liquid and goo or whatever? But they literally talk about how science has proven that stress can reduce the gray matter in the medial the part of the prefrontal cortex, which is an area that hold on, I gotta briefly read this. It's an area of the brain that regulates not only emotions and self-control, but physiological functions such as blood pressure and glucose levels. Basically, it can throw your emotions out of whack. It can throw throw a lot of your physiological body out of whack, including the production of glucose. Now, if you have too low of a glucose, you can go into a diabetic type situation. So it's a health factor. It's a actual health factor. They talk about how they've done brain scans of people who have high stress and whatnot, and seen the results of the brain's functionality. Also talks about ongoing stressful situations can cause chronic health conditions. mood disorders, various issues with our, physiological and psychological health. And I just kind of went, okay. Then she also goes to talk about how stress may be related to tumors. Um, Studies have found that stress induces signals that cause cells to develop into tumors. The culprit is a tumor signaling process called JNK. Now, if you're in the medical field, you might know what that is. And she goes to tell you, actually, she goes, which, when activated by emotional stresses, continues, emotional stress issues, basically. The signal travels through the body one cell at a time. So continued stress could be related to various types of tumors throughout the body. And I'm like, well, thankfully, I haven't had any issues, and there has been no signs of tumors or any kind of like growth, abnormal growth. So I'm like, yay, knock on wood. And then she goes, reducing stress can help heal the brain. I was like, oh, okay. And it says, researchers have found that 45 minutes or more of daily meditation increases the cortical thickness in the hippocampus, the area of the brain that governs learning and memory. 45 minutes worth of just solitude, quiet meditation can increase the chemicals in the brain that govern learning and memory. I've always wondered why my memory seems to come and go. As well as in certain areas of the brain that plays roles in emotion regulation and reduction and reducing I don't even know what that word is, so excuse me, I'm just going to skip it. But it helps reduce and regulate a lot of your emotional things so you can keep calm and remain calm in stressful situations. This last term is a fancy way of saying you take everything personally. Yeah. So basically, when you reduce your stress, you don't take as much problems on your own shoulders. You don't take things personally. For example, if your boss is short-tempered, you fear she won't like you instead of considering that something may be going on in her own work or personal life. Daily meditation also was found to decrease brain cell volume in the amygdala, which is responsible for fear, anxiety, and stress. So basically, the meditation right there alone helps with a lot of different issues, between personal issues, taking things personally, fear, anxiety, those kind of things. Then she goes to say, the next one down is basically, don't sweat the small stuff translates to a longer, healthier life. I'm not going to read that whole passage because I read it and went, okay, so basically it's the old adage that my father-in-law used to use, and that was, don't sweat the petty stuff and don't pet the sweaty stuff. Basically, I think about it every so often, I have to laugh because I'm like, what? But basically, don't worry about the small stuff. Don't get overly worried about various different insignificant problems, because the more you worry about the smaller stuff, it's going to snowball into a bigger problem, which is going to just add more stress to your life, and we just don't need that no more. I know we have our regular every day, month, year type stresses, like, are the bills being paid? How are we going to afford a vacation? How are we going to afford a medical bill? We had an emergency, so we have a medical bill, and how we're gonna, that kind of stuff. If we allow those things to get overly burdensome, if we allow it to overburden our daily lives, we're gonna be stressed, and it's not gonna be any good in long run. How to keep calm and carry on. Most people most people agree that keeping your cool in the face of minor annoyances, mid-sized irritations, or even monumental inconveniences or dangers is admirable. And if you want to create a cozy life, learning how to be calm is something we'll want to master. I agree with that, because if we can master a state of calm in the face of adversity of any form, we can do a lot. I mean, look at Marvel. Marvel industry has put out a lot of great superhero movies. Everything from the Avengers to Thor to Captain America to Black Panther to Doctor Strange. All of them in the movies have mastered a state of calm in the face of adversity and just soldiered on, pushed through, did what had to be done to get by, to get through, to win the day. Now, I'm not saying that we're all going to be, super soldiers like Captain America, or, have the agility and strength of Black Panther or the Winter Soldier, or have the ability of Thor to basically swing a hammer and take out his enemies in one mighty blow, or anything like that. But even your ordinary, everyday human being can learn to master his or her emotions, to not let a single thing, not even the smallest thing, let alone the biggest, ugliest baddie you can think of in your face type stuff. Look at Doctor Strange. Now, Doctor Strange is kind of one of my favorite characters in the Marvel movies. Yeah, Thor. I do like Thor because of the fact that he's supposed to be a Norse god, but the movies don't portray Thor, the real Thor, the way the real Thor is supposed to be portrayed. But the mailman just came through. The wind blew just right. But Doctor Strange, everyday, ordinary guy, great, brilliant neural surgeon, gets into an accident, loses the ability to handle a scalpel to do a simple operation because the nerves in his hands are totally and utterly destroyed. But then he turns around and masters magic and that kind of stuff. That just goes to show you, life throws you a curveball, but you know what? You got to learn how to swing at that curveball and knock it out of the park. And that's basically, the theme behind his story is the fact that he had a brilliant life, a brilliant career, money up the wazoo, and loses it all due to a simple accident. But then he turns around and masters his emotions. And it's not that he masters magic or anything like that. It's the fact that he masters his own psyche to do what he ends up doing as the master of magic or whatever it was. But anyhow, she even goes to say that, I underlined it. It is important to truly live in the spirit of Hegi when you are being sidetracked by uncomfortable emotions, but it can be difficult to keep calm and carry on. Yeah. I had to learn how to master my nerves and my discomfort of driving. I did not like driving. No. And I learned how to drive in New York. So you can only imagine how nerve-wracking it was for me to drive around New York. But when I realized if I paid attention to what was going on around me, kept my distance from the vehicle in front of me, and not worried about the guy behind me, because that was part of his, keeping from getting into an accident and getting a ticket, is keeping, mindful of what was going on, mind my speed and whatnot. Um, I'm now more than happy to drive most places. I didn't like drive. I didn't think I was going to be comfortable driving right here in Missouri from Columbia to Rolla, when Jan was doing her eye thing, her going up to Columbia for her shots because of her eye, and I had to drive home because she couldn't see. Um, you know, you have to learn how to be comfortable in doing what you're doing. There's a lot of things that I'm not comfortable in doing, but I end up doing it anyhow because it needs to be done. Um, I love to cook. I'm not comfortable with cooking with certain elements, or things that are going to be spitting grease at me or things like that. But you know what? I accomplish it. I do what I have to do to feed my family. There's a lot of things that before I started getting into reading and whatnot, I didn't think I was going to be able to read because of all the things I was told in my youth about not being able to surpass, you know, sixth grade reading while I was in eighth grade. Um, I had proved to myself and the world around me I can do it if I want to. You have to learn where your comfort zones are. You have to learn how to deal with things that are not comfortable. I mean, some people think like, oh, I know how to deal with my problems. I just avoid them. No, that's not dealing with your problems. It's avoiding the problem. In order for you to learn how to deal with it and get to a certain comfort level, you have to, jump in. You have to get in the middle of it. And being that I'm pretty much an opposite kind of person, most people say jump in feet first. Not me, man. I jump in headlong. I plow into it. I don't just dip my toe into it. I plow into it, and you know, I learned how to work with it. Anyhow, there's another section I underlined, and it says, if you aren't yet clear, I love how she does that. It sounds like a hillbilly. If you are not or aren't yet clear on what makes you batty, as well as how to immediately deal with your triggers so you don't spend more time than you need to in a state of irritation, then it's time to both pinpoint your stressors and come up with an in-the-moment irritation buster. There you go. She's saying exactly what I kind of said. You cannot get rid of things that annoy you. But you can learn not to be stressed or be less stressed by them. Okay? Yeah, exactly the point I was trying to make. She even has a quote from William Shakespeare, and I love some of these quotes. Wisely and slow, they stumble that ran fast. Don't always understand what Shakespeare is trying to say, but some of his words are kind of like, especially the last part, wisely and slow. Then she goes to talk about tools. Tools of how to deal with stress. Before I go to read this little section before I end it for the day, I want to tell you something that happens not that often, but it does happen every so often. I get stressed when my Aunt Sue calls us, me and Jerry, wanting us to come down to visit her. And 9 times out of 10, when we go to visit her, she has a list of things that she would like us to try to help her out with or deal with. Um, a lot of times it's because she's done something that caused her computer to go wacky, or she doesn't fully understand why her phone system doesn't always work. Um, a few different things. And I used to get stressed out about it because, in fact, 9 times out of 10, when we went down there, I did not really want to go down there to help her out. I want to go down there to visit, to have a good time, and not have to do a bunch of chores for her. And it stressed me out. And I used to go in to prevent them from getting me to do some of the tasks that they wanted me to do, Jerry and Aunt Sue. I would curl up on the couch and act like I was taking a nap. Sometimes I'd fall asleep. Sometimes I'd just lay there listening to their babble. It kind of is a stressor, because in my brain I'm sitting there going, why am I traveling an hour and a half to 2 hours to do a bunch of stuff for my aunt when her oldest daughter, her oldest child, her daughter, and son-in-law live less than 30 minutes away in the same basic area of St. Louis. So depending on traffic, depending on how long it took to get to her. What I did not know at the time when this first came up was her daughter, my cousin, and son-in-law, her son-in-law, cousin-in-law. How would you put an in-law if they're a cousin-in-law? But anyhow, also had to take care of his mother because his mother was older and had more problems than my Aunt Sue. So I kind of went, okay, fine. But if I'm not feeling it, or something, like I'm not feeling good, or I'm not really up to doing a lot of heavy duty stuff, I will do what I can that is important. And it was a lot of different little things, like changing a light bulb in an overhead light socket, or a wall mounted lamp or something like that, or the lights outside because you have to remove glass panels or do certain things to get to the light bulbs. All right, fine, I'll do that. I can understand that because my Aunt Sue is 82. She's around 80, 82 years old, somewhere in that area. So I don't want her, she's living by herself, to put herself into a position that could be dangerous or harmful. The computer situation, I'm not that great with computers anyhow. That's why I let Jerry-Ann deal with it, because she won't get. Jerry-Ann is literally in my household, Jerry-Ann is literally the epitome of calmness, because she can remain calm in most situations. But we go there every so often and help her out. The last couple months, Jerry has not been feeling like it because, well, she was dealing with a lot of depression and personal issues, and she didn't want to take on somebody else's issues. So I've had to learn how to deal with that discomfort. The other thing, and I don't have to deal with it that often because I don't have young kids, or most of my cousins who have young kids live far enough away that I don't have to deal with them. Well, I'm not going to get into details because it's not my place, but we have a very close friend who is, well, she's a very young person. She's getting ready to turn 27, somewhere around there, and she's got kids of her own. Well, she's having a situation down there, and I don't know the whole situation, so I'm not going to talk about it. But I told Jerry, out of the kindness of my heart, because I know this young lady. I watched her practically grow up. I said, if she needs a place to get away for the summer, basically, and she wants to bring the kids, hopefully by the time summer rolls around, like June, mid-June, late June, whatever, we'll have the guest room situated so she can come and stay with us. And there will be two benefits. The one benefit that I was more concerned about was the fact that she'll have a place to come and get away from other people around her that might cause her some sort of stressor or something like that. That in factor, it will help. I think it would help Jerry Ann in various different ways. But then the other thing that was kind of like a side benefit would be like, oh, good, if she comes up here, she can help me do things that need two people and not have to worry about Jerry Ann trying to physically do anything if she's not physically doing well. So it's kind of like a dual benefit. I mean, I'm offering it out of the kindness of my heart, not even thinking about the factor that, oh, good, I'll have somebody help me deal with Jerry and the house. Usually Jerry goes to Texas and visits them, but the way Jerry's been doing lately and things of that nature, I don't think that's going to happen. But anyhow, let me finish up this segment. She starts to give us tools or scientifically researched tools to help with stress and whatnot. The first one is get enough sleep. Studies have shown that people tend to feel more reactive than they are when wait a minute. My words are getting out of control. Basically what she's saying is they've done studies and saying that people who are sleep deprived are more reactive. They literally they react without thinking or anything like that, or trying to maintain a sense of calm. So it's it's both physically and psychologically important for you to get enough sleep so you don't snap or just overreact when somebody does something that triggers you. I'm guilty of that. That's why I think it's an important thing that you try to get in as much sleep as possible. Yes, I understand that there are a lot of different things that causes people to not get enough sleep. Uncomfortable bed, partners tossing and turning, little things that might wake you up, like something that disturbs your sleep, wakes you up and causes you to be instantly in a state of alert. Guilty. The other thing it says, never say yes right away. Basically what they're saying is don't overburden yourself by saying yes to requests or various different things. In other words, don't be a yes person. Guilty. I do that a lot. Jerry Ann asks me to do something, whether I don't feel like it or not, I automatically say, sure, no problem. Yes, okay, sure. You have to sit down and think about yourself. I know it sounds hard to do when you're at a job that basically your boss comes to you with a project and basically slaps the project or the stack of papers in front of you saying, do this. Sometimes you can't say no to that because, Vector, that's your job. But when it comes to non-job related stuff, take time. Think about it. Do you really want to do it? Do you really feel up to doing it? Do you think you can do it? Don't always just automatically go, sure, yes, no problem. Don't. Jan tells me all the time, if you don't feel like doing it, don't say yes. Don't say you'll do it. Because then the person who asks you the question will either feel that you become obligated, or you feel you are now obligated to do it. And sometimes if you don't do it in a timely fashion that the person wants you to do it, then it becomes an issue and it makes the situation worse and the stress levels worse. Don't always just automatically say yes. Sometimes when I'm in the middle of doing something and Jerry Ann asks me to do something to help her out, I'll say, give me a moment. Granted, sometimes I'll forget what I said and she'll get upset and I'll be like, I'm sorry, I forgot that I said yes. If you do tell them give you a moment, um, don't forget to do it, but don't like jump up and do it right away. Finish. I mean, literally, like I tell Jerry Ann, let me finish what I'm doing. I'll help you out. I would try to finish what I'm doing as quickly as possible, whether it's a round in a game or reading a paragraph or whatever. I will. A lot of times I'll remember as soon as I'm done. I get up and okay, what do you need me to do? And there are times where it's like one of those 911 situations where she needs my help, or somebody that you live with might need help. We have to learn how to use certain words to make it imperative that I need the help now. Not, for example, Jim, can you come over and help me up? Sure, give me a moment. I have to go pee. Okay, well, then you should have said to me, I need to go to the bathroom. Can you help me now? Not just can you help me out. There are certain key words that people need to use to make the difference between it can wait until later or it needs to be done now. The other thing that she says about that's a tool to help out, exercise daily. Now, I know this is a hard one for a lot of people because of either busy schedules or maybe you're bound in a wheelchair or bedridden or whatever it is that makes it hard for you to do exercises. But it says here, depending on which research study you look at, 20 minutes to an hour of moderate exercise can aid lowering blood pressure and keep the nervous system running efficiently, helping to maintain your cool the whole day long. Further, when you exercise, your brain releases relaxing, feel-good endorphins. There we go. That's where I was thinking about the endorphins, including serotonin and dopamine. Yes, we have in our bodies natural dopamine, which give us feel-good happiness and calm. And exercise helps reduce the risk of heart disease, cancer, and other illnesses. Alrighty. That's the end of this read for today because this video is going to be close to an hour long. I want to talk about that daily exercise real quick. I've had issues throughout my life feeling uncomfortable with exercise of one form or another just because of various traumas in my PE days when I was doing physical education and started out in junior high. Now, when I was growing up, I was a scrawny, gangly looking little thing, and everybody was like, oh yeah, you need to exercise to build up your muscles, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. That mental attitude of, yeah, we have to grow up and be big, strong, buff man. No, that was not me. I'm sorry. I'm not one of these gym rats or however you want to call them. That in effect, my joke, and I think I use my joke too much, is I'm overactive as is. I run around and do all kinds of stuff all day long. Why do I need to go? Why do I need to do exercises? Why do I need to do anything that's anywhere related to like physical education or physical exercise when I'm active enough as is? Well, here's the reason why. The reason why I should be doing it, and this is me, is because the type of activity, physical activity I do, does not create the feel-good happiness, endorphins and all that fun stuff that we need to help our brains and our emotions and keep from being sick or unhealthy. The activities I do and as much as I do is great because I keep my circulatory system in check and it's always going. but it's not the type of physical activity or whatnot that is needed for the endorphins and the dopamine and serotonin and all that stuff that is needed for the so-called feel-good feeling. I can't say that I couldn't I don't need or couldn't use a good, you know, 40 minutes or so worth of stretching and push-ups and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, I was never into that kind of activity. To me, well, part of my brain says it's not it doesn't work for me. Well, there's a lot of different reasons why I think that. I mean, everything from childhood trauma to just the factor that getting myself to sit still, getting my brain to focus and be still long enough to do a simple exercise was and still kind of is virtually impossible because of my ADD, ADHD, however you want to call it. I, I have problems with that kind of stuff. So I'm like, well, I do enough physical activity and whatnot. Why do I need to do it? Well, right now I'm still doing a lot of physical activity because of cleaning the house and moving stuff around and moving furniture and trying to straighten this up and preparing this room for this activity or this move or whatnot. And I'm like, I don't have the time nor the inclination to do exercises while I'm trying to do all this physical work. But once the physical work is done, if I don't have if I don't have the need to go out and get a job outside of the house, and I'm basically done moving furniture around, and all I have to do is just maintain cleanliness. Maybe then I will start thinking about exercises. But one of the things I'm learning is find your happy place. And I don't mean go find a place outside of your home to be happy. I mean find happiness and joy in doing stuff in your home. I realized yesterday, because yesterday we were making filet mignons, or however you want to put it. What did I make? Filet mignons, potato au gratin. Dre found an interesting and delicious recipe dealing with Brussels sprouts, mozzarella cheese, Parmesan cheese, and whole garlic, or not whole garlic, diced garlic, or the garlic you can get in the olive oil in a jar. We just used a teaspoon of that. And well, I reheated Diane's faux rice-a-roni. Basically, it's cauliflower rice turned into rice-a-roni. And even though I was having a fun time with the filet mignons, we used avocado oil because it has a high heat level, so it doesn't smoke as much as regular canola oil. And trying to flip those over in the pan before throwing them into the oven to broil, having that grease spit at you, that oil spit at you, is just one of those kind of like, you dirty rotten rat, But I realized cooking the meal in itself, and it turned out really good, was a joy. Oh yeah, it was annoying because of the grease spitting at me, but it was like, it made me feel really. Oh, I didn't light my candle today. It made me feel really good today, or yesterday, and I was just kind of like, all right, that's it. I'm done. I know exactly what I need to do. I need to sit down on Sunday after going through all our food stores and seeing what I want, what I have, and then looking at my recipes, seeing what I want to cook, because I think I'm going to be if I'm going to be at home, I think one of the things that I enjoy doing, I'm going to do every day, which is cooking. I enjoy making food for people. I enjoy the I think that's one of the reasons why I enjoy the food service industry more than any other job I've ever had, because I'm making and prepping other people's food, and I enjoy doing that. I think that's one of the reasons why I enjoyed Dickey so much, is because I can stand there and interact with the customer and prep their food, and take their order, and they watch me do their foods and whatnot. And granted, I wasn't fast, I wasn't Speedy Gonzalez, but I did a pretty darn good job, and I really enjoyed it. But maybe if I go out for another job, if I go for another food service job, I won't have to worry about trimming this or cutting this, because I can wear a hairnet, facial nets, or just masks in general, just to cover up my face and keep everything contained, and enjoy my job. Because I want to be me, but I also want to be out there doing my own thing, or doing service, food service or anything like that. Unfortunately, I don't have a soup kitchen to volunteer at, because that would be primarily a volunteer job. And if I had enough money or backers, maybe start my own food service type business, my own restaurant. Ooh, man, that would be great if I had the money. Beans are building up along this one road, 72, that goes from Salem, Missouri to I-44. And there's plenty of plots of land and plenty of open spaces. Or took over the old Burger King building, since I don't think Burger King is coming back to Rolla. I can open a Nordic themed restaurant and have Nordic foods from the Nordic diet book. That would be awesome. I would love doing that. Anyhow, pipe dreams. I love my pipe dreams. But I think one of the things that I'm learning from this American Crozy book is the factor that it's not just about changing your environment. It's also about your frame of mind, and having that frame of mind to be comfortable and calm and happy. And I know, because of the way I grew up and the way Jan grew up, we have to find a happy medium where it's not bare minimum lifestyle or decor or whatnot, but we both have to be happy with the way the house looks. And I think once we're happy with the way the house looks, it's decluttered, and that thing, and I can get a frame of mind to be happy and keep calm. Because I think we can have enough stuff in each room to make us happy, but not look overwhelmed, or not feel overwhelmed by the quantity of stuff. And I think that's what we're both aiming for. We're both aiming for a happy medium, because she doesn't want to live a totally simplistic lifestyle, which basically means, or not, is it simplistic lifestyle? Oh, minimalist lifestyle. She doesn't want to live a minimalist lifestyle. And to be honest with you, I don't want to live a minimalist lifestyle either. I mean, I remember when I had my own place, my own space, and I had the decor I wanted on the walls and the furniture I needed in my room, or rooms, depending on where I was living or who I was living with, I would be happy. I mean, I can understand her. She wants a gallery wall with pictures of family and friends and whatnot, but to have the wall so full you can't see the paint on the wall is a little too much for me. I mean, I like the idea of having portraits and pictures of events or family members at various, I don't want, you know, I don't want a frame that holds 6 different pictures, and in that frame is one person at various stages of their life. I mean, it's like you have, I'm trying to think, she has 8 nieces and nephews total. If she had a picture frame that held eight pictures, each picture can be a picture of the niece or nephew at their current age. One wedding picture, or a frame that has various pictures from our wedding. Things like that. I don't need. Okay, I might have just had a package from FedEx because FedEx just passed the house, leaving my cul-de-sac. So anyhow, but anyhow, each of us can find our own version of happiness with our decor, and it doesn't have to be like overwhelming. I think that's the point. I think that's the thing, is you need enough decor and furniture to be comfortable, but you don't need to have you don't need to have so much furniture that you can literally have your whole entire family in your house, and each and every one of them has a place to sit. That's just way too much furniture in my brain. Because I remember growing up, my grandparents had a couch, a love seat, and maybe one armchair. Enough for most of the adults to sit down in one room while the kids basically sat on the floor. Even my mom, I remember one time my mom, before we went to Germany, we were all visiting my grandparents, and that was 7 to 8 full-grown adults, and the five of us kids. My parents were the only one that had one kid, and that was me. My mom's brother and his wife had 2 kids, and her sister and husband had 2 kids. So there's 5 of us kids, and there was enough seating in the living room of their house at the time for most of the adults to sit down. Mom was basically sitting on the floor next to Dad. Dad was sitting on one of the sofas. And, well, actually, Dad wasn't even sitting on the sofa. Dad was in the kitchen. Dad was in the kitchen with maybe Aunt Joyce or Grandma or both. A lot of vehicles making noise at this time of day on a Friday. But anyhow, just find your happiness. Make your house comfortable and happy and not so overcrowded. Sorry, this video is going to be an hour long. But the thing is, in order to maintain a happiness, it's not just about your surroundings. It's about remaining calm and finding ways to deal with your annoyances or your triggers without being debilitated by the lack of calmness. I think that's exactly what she's trying to say here, is there are rhymes and reasons for our inability to remain calm, and usually it's lack of endorphins because we didn't get enough sleep, or we're not getting the proper exercise, or things of that nature. And then finding ways to deal with them without being overbearing or anything like that, which is my problem, because sometimes me dealing with a situation is trying to control the annoyance, trying to control whatever's causing my annoyance. And I know what most of my triggers are. It's usually loud, constant noises, crowds, and maybe because I have never had kids of my own, it's rambunctious little ones who are just like all over the place, or noisy, or things of that nature. and I'm I'm maybe here in the near future having to deal with that kind of situation. I don't know. But anyhow, um, yeah. If you enjoyed today's conversation, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and put them in the question comment box. I am dealing with them to the best of my ability. If you're new to my channel and want to hear more on American Crozy, the book, and my opinions and what the book has to say itself, go ahead and click that subscribe button. And once you click on the subscribe button, a little bell will pop up, and you can click on that bell, and YouTube will let you know when I put in my next video. Until next time, have a good day. Enjoy. Bye.